I think what's interesting about it is that now I try to cycle everywhere, but I didn't start like that. So I was actually quite scared of cycling in London, and then I lived a little bit more central, so my commute was shorter, and a lot of it was actually along the canal. So that was like a great starter because even though cycling on the canal people is annoying, but I don't know, back then I guess there were fewer people walking.
Yeah, there was.
So it just felt like a nice intro, and then I kind of graduated to the back streets, and slowly I built up my confidence. But I think going from not really cycling to straight into city cycling.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do it. It'd be too much of a shock to the system, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you almost need to, like, as you tried out, try out different routes. In a non-time pressure way. But I don't love cycling through the city.
No, just have to grit your teeth and do it. Yeah.
But the way that I feel, even if it's a little bit stressful, after I cycle in versus take the tube in is really different. It's always net positive.
Well, cycling always is, isn't it? Even if it's a bit drizzly.
Yes.
And you look out the window and you're like, you always feel better for it, don't you?
My old boss had a saying. So he was like born and raised in London, and he said, "Oh, there's only 10 wet days in London." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about? London obviously rains more than today." He said, "No, a wet day is when you actually get wet on the 30 minutes in and the 30 minutes out when you're cycling." And if you actually think about it, there was only 10 days a year with that.
I remember Chris at Gap doing that calculation. It never quite rung true, but he was also very convinced there's only 10 wet days. Mind you, this year, I mean, it's the driest, we keep getting drier and drier, so you can't really use rain as an excuse anymore. There is no rain at the moment, is there? So, that's true. Yeah.
Do you think an electric bike would help you?
No, I like the exercise. I think that's the reason to do it. We've got friends who've got electric bikes, and they work for some people. But I kind of feel for me, it slightly takes the point away from it.
Yeah,
it's not the exercise I mind. I quite like that hardcore feeling when you're pushing yourself.
Yeah,
it's just it's all the other people.
That's
the problem.
The
cars and the bikes. But I mean, the highway they're building. So I live in Brentford, and they've got to Hammersmith now, and they've also created a cycle lane around Hammersmith roundabout, which is a deal breaker because that was one of the worst.
I think I know that one. Yeah,
it was absolutely horrible. I mean, you literally felt like you were taking your life in your hands. But the infrastructure has got a lot better. So you can now go basically car free from me to Hammersmith roundabout, just about 6 miles. So it's really coming on. We just need more of it. The problem I find at the moment is that because there isn't that much of it, the cycle highways you do have are incredibly crowded.
Yeah.
And just crossing Southwark Road in the morning, I mean, it's jam-packed. So it's good that they're there, but just needs to be more and more and more of them, because at the moment we're a little bit funneled into the same place. Again, you must find in the city, the routes are crowded.
They are crowded. I think part of the route that I've chosen now is that it includes so many back roads.
Right.
And so that feels a little bit like there's something, obviously having cycle superhighways is great because it gives the cycle roads like more prominence, but it is really stressful, and it's like there's more and more cycles, but if you can do the back roads, once you kind of know your way, I don't know.
I think you're probably right. Some of the cycle routes go on the back roads, and that's almost the best of all worlds, because you've got a sort of demand space that the cars know you're in, but you're not in those super highways which do feel a bit intense, don't they?
Very intense. I think the thing that made it easier for me was that kind of phased approach of having shorter journeys and less stressful journeys and kind of working your confidence up. But also a big thing for me was that one of my first jobs, we had the senior staff cycle to client meetings. And that was like, either I'd have to get the bus or the tube and meet them there, or I'd get on my bike and cycle with them. And so it was almost modeling that behavior. I mean, they were a sustainability consultancy, so it makes sense that you had those, directors doing that. But I think there's a social element to it too. Like even when I worked at Public Health England, I bonded more with my colleagues who also cycled, and we'd go to agency meetings, or because the whole group of them would take the tube back, but you bond with the cyclists. So it's finding kind of ways to connect to other people who want to do it as well.
Make it feel a bit more culturally normal and acceptable.
And being okay that you arrive a bit disheveled.
Yeah, but it's almost cool now, isn't it? You turn up your meeting with all your kit and it's kind of the done thing.
Yeah.
That old sort of sleek look was a bit pre-lockdown anyway.
Yeah,
everybody's a bit more trainers and a bit more cash, aren't they? So I think that's definitely helped it. Maybe this is a rather female perspective on cycling, but the feeling that you don't have to be so groomed.
It's true.
Has definitely made it easier.
Yeah. I think a big thing of it is either having it modelled by colleagues or just having friends who do it as well.
Yeah.
And you all cycle home together at the end of the night.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. That's right. Yeah.